Hi everyone, it's another journey, and today's journey is a seasoned entrepreneur and digital marketing expert with over a decade of experience building revenue generating brands. As a founder and CEO of Webster Berry Marketing, our guest has led hundreds of clients to measurable success through tailored services in web design, sales funnels, social media, CRM, email marketing, and branding. Our guest is also the creator of Launch Ignition AI, an innovative business accelerator that automates website, funnel, and campaign creation in moments, helping clients achieve up to 312% lead growth and 5 times revenue increases. It's launched multiple ventures, including Ignite Funnels and authored Content Cannon, which guides entrepreneurs in generating a month's worth of content in a single day. I'll say no more because it's Arias Webster Berry on a journey.
David, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Now, journeys start somewhere like I know when podcast started for me, it was a very basic thing. And even for me, it was a very basic thing. And it was using an iPad. It was not using a ring light. It was not using a microphone. It was not using headphones. It was not using a green screen. What was your earliest memories that kick-started your journey?
Journeys for where I am now. Man, I guess my earliest one of my earliest memories, isn't a birthday or maybe a family trip. Um, it was me being homeless. It was my freshman year in high school. I just moved from San Diego to Orange County, so maybe a couple hours away. And my mom and my grandmother did a surprise visit, and they tell me that my mom's been in a domestic violence situation. She defended herself, and in the process of that, she took it too far. She injured him severely. They were going to court, and she was actually going to jail for a period of time. And basically, overnight, my whole life changes. Right.
Yeah.
My father had already passed away several years before, so my support system, financial assistance, is all gone. And shortly after I ended up homeless, I dropped out of college. I ended up having to, find full-time employment, like couch surfing, sleeping in stairwells, things like that. And that could have went a certain way, but really what it taught me is that I am stronger than I think. And it also taught me that at no point in life do I have the luxury of not earning income,
Yeah.
right? And from that point on, I really began to hustle, right? I figured out how to, I got a sales job at 24 Hour Fitness. I started throwing some parties, and that was kind of a side gig, and that turned into a main gig. And then eventually I started throwing concerts and festivals and all these different things. So is one of those things where, when the going gets tough, the tough get going.
Yeah.
And, some people are fight or flight. I'm definitely fight all the way.
Mm. And you talk about, it took something, even though it, you know, it was a traumatic experience.
Hmm.
And, it was what happened was self-defense. And I, always understand about self-defense when it comes to things like you spoke about. But it takes something that small or dramatic or, big in something it's small to make something in a journey. And you said yourself, you took the fight or flight way of dealing with life because you had to stand on your own 2 feet.
Hmm.
Now, you said it was, did you find it difficult? Did you ever find it difficult in those early days?
Oh, I mean, immensely. I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't know how to set up a bank account. I didn't know, I barely knew what a checkbook was. So I definitely didn't know how to balance one. Um, you know, um, Trying to figure out how to get an apartment for the first time, without much guidance or help. Buying a car for the first time without anybody to kind of keep me
Yeah,
from getting swindled. Everything was an additional struggle simply because I didn't have any structure, any guidance, or anyone kind of helping me or teaching me about the do's and don'ts of the process. So yeah, I think a lot of the basic things in my life were very difficult, um, needlessly so. But um, in that became I found a superpower, right? I became very good at figuring things out.
mm,
um, I I I have a tinkerer's mind. I look at things, I look at problems, I look at things that I want to accomplish, and I just kind of reverse engineer it. And I've been doing that since then, right? And that's carried me through life, and it's helped me build, the companies that I have now.
yeah. So, the fact of the matter as well, because you are so uneducated, and this is not being disrespectful about you. Credit, as you know, is done nowadays in such a way that it's no longer the case of going into the bank and they shake your hand. It's the
Mhm,
case of actually going in and they take your name, put your name into the computer. So it's
mhm,
not the case of, example, I'm such David Hackett. I'm coming, I want to borrow $1,000. Is $1,000. It's
mhm,
more complicated, and the same goes for the bank. When I first came to America, and you can relate to this because you found that difficulty when you're setting up the bank. You go
mhm,
to a bank for the first time in America or anywhere in the world, they have to sit you down and say, "Okay, tell me about you," and then you tell yourself about you, and it's like, why do you want to relive certain things when you say, "Oh, I've been through this or I've been through that, but I'm
mhm.
here now, present. Why can't you take me as face value?" And you have to answer a lot of questions just to even get a bank account.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, and there's a process to it, and some people had the good fortune to have people to shepherd them through that process, and some of us were less fortunate.
Yeah,
Um, but I was told a long time ago that it's not how you start, it's how you finish, and I aim to finish very well.
that is a good premise to be, and we will get into the future and how we see yourself for the future in a few moments. But
Mhm.
now you've obviously moved on, you now into the present. And do you see the present, how you've seen yourself back then, or do you see yourself evolved into the man you are, that you're stronger, more aware of things around you?
Yeah, yeah. I think lack makes you extremely cognizant of opportunities. I think the um, scarcity of the things that a lot of people have makes you very aware when things are present, and you kind of jump on them in order to hopefully get ahead. So I think now I think that though that I'm better at recognizing opportunities. I think I'm better at seizing them and being grateful for them as a result of where I come from.
Yeah. So going into the job that you're doing now and the career you've gone into, tell us about that.
Yeah. So as I was saying, I kind of started in the entertainment space, nightlife, and then eventually into festivals and concerts. I did very large concerts. One for at the LA Sports Arena with Janelle Monáe and Common and Ludacris and Mixmaster Mike from the Beastie Boys and lots of other artists. And since then, I've worked with tons of artists that are Grammy Award winning and multi platinum, selling blah blah blah. And I basically parlayed that into marketing. One of the big components of that industry is your ability to get people through the door. What we used to say, getting cheeks and seats, right? So I developed a talent for social media. Developed a talent for graphic design. I developed a talent for generating leads and then talking to those people and getting them to actually show up and buy things. And I ended up moving back to Texas, and I went to work for the largest digital marketing company in the world at the time, which was Reach Local. And that's where I got my formal training in digital marketing. I
Mm,
learned about search engine optimization and social search engine marketing and advertising and account management and building websites and all that different stuff. And I was with them for a few years and eventually went out on my own and created what is now Webster Marketing.
yeah, and that just shows the growth in you, and it shows that things have changed so much as well because gone is the day where you can just go on. I'm not saying this in the harshest way. Gone is the day where you go on YouTube and you can get the subscribers to get the gold play button. You've got to do so many things now to attract YouTube to being part of you. And I forgot what it says on the basic thing, but I think you got to upload, for example, 3 videos within so many days, and then you got to have so many views to have so many followers, and it's gone.
Mhm.
So, in my sense of understanding how YouTube nowadays are, and most YouTubers I follow, they have a Patreon page or a Ko-fi page or something
Mhm.
to supplement something that is, going to help them financially because YouTubers are more, and I'm not saying this in the harshest way against YouTube because I use YouTube a lot, but it's against, YouTube is a fact that it's no longer the easy option to generate revenue.
Yeah. I think a lot of creators, like you said, that the pandemic kind of accelerated a lot of people jumping into podcasting or creating on any social media
Mm,
or any medium. There were a lot of people that kind of went into business themselves, and the platforms were paying, right, just for you to create content, and they have slowed that down, right? A lot of the other platforms aren't paying. They've kind of demonetized a lot of the avenues for monetization, but even the ones that still do, they've reduced the amount that they're paying. They've reduced the amount of traffic that they send your way just for publishing. So a lot of creators are looking for ways to monetize that audience, monetize that attention,
yeah.
and um, it's great for us because we're a marketing company. So a lot of them are coming to us hoping we can help them, turn this attention, turn their expertise or, their audience into dollars. And we do that very well. And we do that a couple of different ways. And then we also help entrepreneurs build whole, products, digital products, to sell to their audience.
Yeah, and it's doing it organically as well because I'm not, like I said, I've been on certain sites and they promise, people come in and then message you without even knowing unless you go in your messages and they will like say, we will help you if you give us, and it's like, that's not organic, that's not natural
Hmm.
because it's the same sort of script over and over again. Now, if you talk, for example, if I was talking to you personally, yes, it's a one-on-one, it's organic, it's natural. But I've seen people pop into my LinkedIn, for example, and I'm not saying LinkedIn is, good or bad. It's good for networking. But in recent months, I've had people coming in. We noticed you failing on this, failing on that. It's like, these are not my contacts. These are just people who seem to be promoting themselves because they want to. way of trying to scam you. And I just don't want that. I want a natural growth where I will naturally grow by being myself.
Yeah, I mean, at some point you have to figure out how to take, organic growth, organic engagement, and you have to turn that into an actual business, right? You have to learn how to go from content creator or, popular to hustle, right?
Mm,
Figure out how to turn that into a hustle. And then you have to figure out how to turn that hustle into a business, right? From hustler to architect. And that was a hard transition for me, right? At first, I was doing everything. I was a marketer, I was a designer, copywriter, I'm the salesperson, I'm the janitor, right? It was a nonstop hustle. But the truth is, hustle without structure is just exhaustion without a business card, you know. And the game changed for me when I realized I didn't need to move faster. I just needed to build something smarter, right? So I went and got a Scrum certification so that I could learn how to build teams and build predictable systems. And I started getting deep into automation and workflows and pipelines, and made it to where I didn't have to be everything for my business, and I can eventually create systems that I can employ people to run.
yeah,
And for creators, for business owners, I'm sorry, for entrepreneurs, they have to learn to make that transition, right?
yeah,
Make it so that they don't have to be everywhere at all times and everything to everyone.
yeah. It's like you don't have to be the multitasker like you were. Now, I still create my imaging, I do the remixing on, the soundtrack that it happens at the beginning of a podcast. Now, that started off with me just using the idea and I put it forward to the people who made it for me. But then
Hmm.
I've got the allowance to remix it. So it still sounds like it's still the same track, but I
Hmm.
slowed down the tempo. So it's me just slowing down the tempo. I can do that because it's the track that was provided to me was my own. They said it's yours, you can use it.
Indeed.
And and then the imaging came about because I just started off on a very basic idea. And now I've evolved it in such a way that it's more colorful, more attractive. But that's my own doing because I wanted to advance on myself.
Right.
Now AI and AI's come along now and it's got a lot stronger over the last few years. I could use an AI script if I want to, but I tend not to use a script because I feel if you use a script, it's a structured thing. You feel constrained being what's written in front of you. Now, if you're on radio, if you're on television, yes, fine, script is there. You got to do it. You can't really ad lib off that. But I go into the journey, I interview people like you. I read about you for a few seconds and then I leave it to you because I feel like it's a natural, organic conversation. Now, don't get me wrong, AI is good for certain things. We know it is.
Hmm.
But also, it's still developing, and that's the key that people many forget, and many use it to produce things and then pass it off as their own.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, integrity will take you a lot further than mischief.
Yeah.
And we're living in a time where I think a lot of people are going to be able to fake it for a while. But I think that's going to be short lived. I think we're going to see a lot of these so-called influencers and gurus get exposed, simply because it's easy to get in a room, but it's much harder to stay in a room.
Mm.
uh, so yeah, I think authenticity is key, and
Yeah.
you're like you said, you like to kind of get in and do it yourself, so you can make sure that it's unique and authentic to you.
Mm. It's like another example about AI, and it's a thing I learned myself, not doing it myself, but I asked a question once to a high school teacher. I said, AI thing, you ask students to do a paper for you and present it to you. How do you know it's AI? And they said, we have our ways. And they said, you sure? Because they haven't got full training in AI. They haven't had extra training to say you're AI certified to understand AI. And they said, we know. And I was like, how will you know?
Right.
Because obviously, when you go into AI and you say produce a paper on, the Second World War and how was it for Americans, for example, you can custom make that to make it sound like you.
Absolutely. It's going to be very hard to distinguish. But, I think the rubber meets the road when you have to actually do the thing. You can fake it all you want when, um, you want to create a video or a graphic or a paper or write an email for you. But when you're live in front of some people and they ask you the questions, you either have the answers or you don't. They say, hey, can you do this right now in front of me? You either have the skill and knowledge or you don't. And unfortunately, I think that that's going to be a big um, divide. I think there's going to be more people on the wrong side of that equation than not. Um, so yeah.
And that does go for content creators as well, because you, like I said, you see so many content creators. How many using AI nowadays? I saw one the other week. He used it just as an example. But
Mhm.
he said, I'm an original content creator. I believe in natural content, but I wanted to see if people would believe it was me.
Mhm.
Now, when people first heard it, some were misled from the get-go. And then obviously at the very end, the content creator did say, this is an AI generated thing. And they were like, oh, you had me. But the fact was, it was very misleading because if you watched the video without knowing that he did the AI bit and you just skipped to the AI bit, you would
Mhm.
actually think he was being himself.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's people are gonna have to figure out how to use it ethically, and I think there's a lot of opportunity for mischief, but I think karma always ensues.
Yes, it does. And I agree on that totally, on an unbiased opinion, because I have to keep it neutral because I know some will use it for good, some will use it not. And like you said, for mischief purposes, it's like
Yeah.
you've got to be making people aware. Like if I was to do something AI now, I'd put a disclaimer up saying this would contain AI. The
Hmm.
only AI in my background is the background, but that's natural.
Yeah.
So obviously, you're talking about your business, and people are wanting to know can they get in contact with you for your business and wanting to know if you can help them. Is there a way of getting in contact with you for your business, and where can they find you?
Sure. If you are a business owner, an entrepreneur, you are looking, you have an established business and you're just looking to, um, maybe get more leads. If you're looking to get more attention, get in front of more people, drive more traffic, well, Webster Berry Marketing, we're a full service digital marketing agency. We build websites, we do social media advertising, we manage social media profiles, and a ton of other stuff. They can go to websterberrymarketing.com, or you can just look up Webster Berry Marketing. As you see it, my name in the corner, it's Webster like the dictionary and Berry. We are not hard to find. Same thing on all social media platforms. And if you are a solopreneur, if you are a creator of any sort, if you're a coach, a consultant, an author, a speaker, and you're looking for a way to monetize your brand, monetize your knowledge, monetize or try to create something that can actually help you take that attention and turn it into some actual dollars. Well, we have a system called Launch Ignition AI, which helps. It's a business ideation automation platform that helps creators go from idea to income in a couple of weeks instead of a couple of years.
Mm.
So, if you go to launchignition.ai, you can definitely get a demo and a couple of free things that we have there as well.
And I'll make sure the links are in the description afterwards. So the last ultimate question is, people are on a journey, as you know, you've been on a journey yourself from your earliest memories to where you are now, but you are now helping the next generation understand themselves. What would you
Mhm.
say to those people on their beginning of their journey?
Um, um, I would
Because
say find something that you actually enjoy. Um, I think that if you find something that you actually enjoy, you'll figure it out. I think a lot of people hop on trends and, they saw someone who made $1 million overnight and they're like, well, that guy's not as talented as me or as attractive as me or you, whatever. They can make $1 million and so can I. But if you don't have a passion for something, you're most likely not going to do really well at it, because typically the road to finding true success takes longer than you anticipate. And if it's not something that you really enjoy, when things get tough, you're most likely going to fold. So I would say the first thing is, pick something that you're actually interested in, something that you think that you can add value in. And then from there, make sure that you have a plan, right? I don't care if it fits on a napkin or a postage stamp, right? Just make sure there's some kind of plan, and then do everything you can to execute it, right? Plan your work your plan. And I think that without getting too detailed, I think those are the things, man. Find something you love to do, set a plan, and then get busy executing that plan.
Yeah, and as it says on your cap, what you won't inspire others as well is a key as well.
Yeah, indeed.
And on that, I'd like to say, Arias, thank you for sharing your journey with us. I hope the business goes well. I hope people who are business orientated, who listen to this, will take note, and if they want to reach out to you, they reach out to you.
Indeed. Thank you for having me, David.
You're welcome. Our thanks to our guest for a wonderful journey. And now a couple of messages to share with you.
Hello, I am Ammie Harrison. I'm the author of the book Feline Warrior Part 1 and Part 2, a fictional story that is written in a poetic format that is based on real-life events that could happen to anyone and intended only for relatable purposes. This story claws into Catgirl's past abuse. Catgirl is human and part feline, but truly a warrior who can handle anything because she is strong and fierce. She has been taken advantage of for far too long. Join her on her journey as she reaches freedom. Here are some poems from Feline Warrior. Tears flow. I no longer know what to do. I am no longer who I once was, and it is because I made a choice to use my voice, and that is okay, because what I had to say was true, unlike me and you. Now I see. I am free. I am me. I am Catgirl. Ultimately, be you. Always stay true. Do what you want to do, because every day is made new. If you want to read more, visit the link in the description. Meow at you later.
Music by Erica R. from Pixar Bay.
By Tim Parsons. The narrator is Kate Barton. Director and producer, Darren Street. Tim Parsons would like to thank family and friends for their support with the paramedic Chris venture. The series is dedicated to the memory of his father, Reverend David Parsons. Copyright Tim Parsons 2020, all rights reserved. Unauthorized use, copying or sharing of this audiobook is strictly prohibited. This has been a Voice Reel studio production for Tim Parsons.
Oh, good afternoon, everyone. I've just been listening to the Paramedic Chris children's books on audio again, and I just love it because they've given a tribute in one of them to my dad as well, who passed away a few years ago. I love audio books, and it's great to walk around, and it's great to sit at the computer, if you're out jogging or wherever, to listen to them as well. All 4 of the Paramedic Chris children's books are available on audiobook from Amazon. Go and take a listen to them. You won't be disappointed. You'll hear what happens when a community pulls together and supports one another. The best thing is to pop over to my website, paramedicchriskidsbooks.org, and you'll see the links on the shop page. Keep safe, everyone, and thank you for being you.
The Journey podcast explores stories of personal growth, challenges, and life-changing moments. Each episode dives into unique experiences, offering insights and inspiration for listeners navigating their own paths. I believe everyone has a story worth sharing. If you'd like to share your journey with David and others, email your story to wisewords1983@reborn.com, and it may be featured in a future episode.